Hey folks, it's Nate coming at you on a Wednesday night, February 16th. So today, my SaberTrio Vectra came in. Totally stoked about it. It's a beautiful saber. So I got this in the proffie configuration, and with a heavy grade NeoPixel blade, and I got the brushed silver, which I think is more the stock version. But this is absolutely gorgeous. I've wanted this model for a while now. When last year when I first got the Reaver, this guy right here, I chose the Reaver even though I kind of sort of wanted this one a little bit more. But I was more curious about the Reaver initially because I was thinking about getting it etched. And this one looked like a better candidate for some etch work, but I ended up not doing that anyway. But I still love both of these models. So so ordered this on Black Friday, and then just got here today. Super satisfied. So what I'm going to do a couple of things tonight. I want to demo the Saber for you, so that those of you who are curious about SaberTrio's new rollout of their custom 22mm Veco speaker could hear what it sounds like. And then I wanted to do a sound comparison test between this and my SaberTrio Reaver, which is a custom install with proffie, but this one has a 28mm KR speaker. And so I wanted to do, as good of a sound test as I can provide. It's going to be a little bit rudimentary. This is on a camera phone, so I'm not using a lot of high-end electronic equipment right now to pick up on the sound comparisons, but it is what it is. And then I also wanted to go over some pros and cons of this saber in the proffie configuration. Obviously, pros. The SaberTrio is an awesome company. They produce really beautiful, high-quality hilts, really good prices. Their customer service is just out of this world. It's best in the business. Their fulfillment turnaround times and their ship times and their reliability is also just off the charts. It's really, really good. This is the third saber I've ordered from them since I began collecting sabers, and I've never had an issue with them, ever. So on to a few of the cons. And really these are just minor nitpicks of my own. Since I'm really just a proffie saber collector, I don't really own any CFX sabers. I own a couple of Golden Harvest V3 sabers that I got from my daughter. But for myself, my entire saber collection at this point, with the exception of two baselit stunt sabers, I think the other 19 sabers I have they're all proffie. And so, well, first let me go over some of the pros of the saber itself. Love the 2-button setup. I love the fat button up top and the tactile aux switch on the bottom. I'm a really big fan of this configuration. I have, as some of you may know in previous videos where I've talked about this, as I've gotten a little older, my hands have gotten a lot more arthritic, and so when I like to swing around these things and and do my effects when I'm doing blade style demos, it's nice to have the 2 buttons here. They're very easily accessible, especially because I like to use FET's prop file. And in FET's prop file specifically, things like lightning block are like holding down power and tapping aux, where you're using 2-button machinations for a single effect. So I like this. I like the the top and bottom orientation of buttons as opposed to like side by side, or and then the other configuration I'm really a fan of is like the one that Bendu Armory has, where they have the power and aux up top, as well as some of the Saber Forge orientations too, the up top, and then than top and bottom. So those are sort of like my two favorite. Other pro is I really like the grip space that they have here. Just this design here, it makes it nice to, you know, the cover tech isn't too invasive on the Saber itself. It's well placed, and has really good balance in terms of where the grip area is on the Saber. The emitter section, it's got some heft to it, but it's not super heavy. So a couple of cons, and again, as I mentioned before, these aren't really huge cons. Board access. Proffie Sabers need clear, easy board access for users of all skill levels when it comes to dealing with Proffie. I like that this chassis is removable. I love recharge ports and kill keys. Big fan of both. However, this is sort of on a pull, like I'm not sure how else to explain it. It feels like this is on like a rubber band. So when you pull this out, it sort of wants to jump back in, which makes it a little bit difficult to access this micro USB port. The pro, I will say though, is that there's a lot of, I like the fact that there's a lot of space in here, so that you don't necessarily have to use an angled connector to get to the micro USB port, because there's enough space here where you can sort of come at it flat, so that's good. But one con I will say is that micro USB port is a little bit too close to the edge of the inside of the hilt for my liking. It would have been nice if that was sort of seated in just a little bit more, a little bit farther away from the edge. And then also, sort of coupled with that, I will say the one other con is that this chassis is not fully removable. I'm a big fan of fully removable chassis. And, you know, without really understanding what other types of wiring they did in here, it seems to me the way that this Saber is oriented in terms of where the switches are, that a fully removable chassis here with a pin connecting set could have been placed right here, and you could have had a fully removable chassis with the battery, the board, and the SD card and the speaker on this bottom end. It seems like that would have been a doable thing. So I'm not sure why they didn't do it that way. I'm sure they had their reasons, whether they be design or budgetary. But it would have been nice if this had been a fully removable chassis. So those are really the only two cons, is sort of the placement of the micro USB port, the rigidity of accessing it with this, and the you know, and the fact that it's a wired chassis, that it's not fully removable. Everything else about this, you know, the way this Saber is built and the way it looks is just fantastic. And again, really loving both the RCP and the kill switch. I love having both of these on a Proffie Saber, because it saves, you know, having to pull your battery in and out all the time, which, you know, anytime you don't have to do those sort of repeated movements accessing the chassis, you know, that's going to prolong the life of the build that much longer. So anyway, enough rambling. Let me turn this thing on, kick its tires, so you can hear it. So this is the first release. This last opening on Black Friday in November is when SaberTrio began offering their 22mm Veco speakers in all of their Sabers. I believe they do it both for their NeoSabers and for their RGB baselit Sabers. I think that's sort of they're doing like a universal now. And yeah, and then previously I think they were using a 24 millimeter on their Neo. I'm not entirely sure. Somebody can correct me, but so anyway, so what I've done is I put my Visions sound fonts and blade styles on this. So my config that I put on here is my custom config for my Visions blade styles. So this is going to be the Ronin episode 1 red sound font and blade style. I still have to fix the clash threshold. It's still a little bit too low. So used to having gesture controls. I hadn't put it on this one.
Your wait is over.
Okay, so that's the 22mm Veco. So now I don't have the exact same sound fonts and config on this one. This is the Dyad Sequel Trilogy config that I have on this one, but it's as close as I can come to. I didn't really have time to put a whole other config on here before doing this video, so we'll go with what we have. And then this is a 28mm KR speaker. This is using this is either a KR proffie board or a Dark Wolf, I forget which one. So the install components, you know, are a little bit different. So right away, what I notice is that this speaker is a little bit thinner. The loudness is similar, but it's not as rich. It doesn't have as much bass on it. Whoops, hang on. My blade decided to be finicky.
Saber was Luke's.
So what I'll do is, since I have the Scavenger's Destiny font on both, I'll cue it up to both of those.
I've been waiting for this day for a long time.
You're hard to get rid of.
Wherever you are, Empress.
I'm right. Something inside me has always been there, but now it's awake. I'm the Jedi.
Supreme Leader.
Battery power level.
Ben Solo.
Rey Skywalker.
Yeah, that's the one. Okay. Now this blade is being finicky tonight. Okay. Okay, then let me cue this one up.
We can rebuild this family!
Just a simple wonder.
Disgraceful. I am a Jedi.
So this is the same sound font. I just put different window dressing on it to make it Visions-esque.
May the Force be with you.
yeah, so this speaker is definitely kicking up a little bit more bass, but there's couple of other things I want to show people in terms of accounting for that difference. So there's the speaker quality, but then there's also, you know, how far in it's planting in the install, and then how it's installed, right? So for this one, you know, this speaker is very well installed as well. So you see the chassis is covering it, which is what you want. And then it's also got at least a half inch, almost a full inch from the edge here, plus this. So this one's got some pretty good sound resonance and capture inside of the hilt. Right, so this is a good distance from the edge of the Saber. That's what you want on a, you know, regardless of your speaker size. And then let's look at the Vectra with the 22. So you notice, same thing here. This has got good depth inside. So I'd say the depth inside the Saber is almost the same between these two speakers. And then again, with this one, this speaker is also encapsulated within the chassis. So it's not, you know, sitting out on the edge. And then the other thing I wanted to double check on, which I didn't mention earlier, was the actual sound, sound setting of the speakers themselves. So for the excuse me, for the 28 millimeter, I have it set to 1750, and for a 28 millimeter 3-watt 4-ohm speaker, it caps at 3,000. So 1750 is right around the 60% mark, 60% of capacity. Now the 22 millimeter, I believe, I don't know what wattage this thing is. I think it's a 3-watt 4-ohm speaker as well. I'll have to double check. I don't know that I can find that out right now, but I'll have to put it in the video description what the actual spec is on that 22 millimeter speaker. But I think it's also a 3-watt 4-ohm speaker. And that one is also set, I think it's set to 1750. Let me just verify that. Because what you have the speaker sound setting set to will also obviously determine the loudness difference. And I essentially carried over that setting from their default to mine. So yeah, this Veco speaker is set to 1750 as well. So the volume in the proffie config, the volume value is the same for both of these, for the 28 and the 22. So for right now, it's sort of looking like this new custom speaker that SaberTrio is putting out is doing a really, really good job competing with a lot of the 28 millimeters out there. I definitely want to do another sound comparison test against my Starfall Saber, which has a 28 millimeter Smuggler's Outpost high bass speaker in it. I definitely want to see how those things stack up. But for now, that's the initial review of the my new SaberTrio Vectra. Loving it. Gonna see me doing a lot of Saber demos with this one moving forward, as well as with this Reaver, unless somebody ends up purchasing this, in which case you won't see that as much anymore. But you will definitely see me doing a lot more demo videos with this Vectra. Loving this hilt. It's beautiful. And as always, thank you to the folks at SaberTrio for all your hard work, your great communication, and your talents. Just a great company all around. So for those of you who have been thinking about getting a SaberTrio, have been on the fence about it, I highly encourage it. So, all right, y'all. Thanks for listening, and as always, may the force be with you. Take care. See you on the next one.